and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Doing this tag a little bit late, but I still want to do it. I do wrap-up videos, so I feel like tags like this are very fun, so I can kind of update you guys on what I'm loving and what I'm hating and all the tea, all that jazz. So I have been doing like short monthly wrap-ups on my Instagram and my TikTok if you want to check that out. I'm at Books with Samantha literally everywhere. Some real stats real quick. I always set my reading goal. I would leave my Goodreads down below. Sometimes I write a review, sometimes I don't, but just so you guys know, I always set my reading goal for 100 books. I feel like that's a really solid number. Some months I'll read a book a day, and then other months I'll read like maybe 2 or 3 books. And that's it. So I am definitely a mood reader, so 100 books sounds good. And we have already hit our Goodreads reading goal for the year. So everything else is just extra. As of right now, I have read 106 books. So we are 6 books over goal. Pat on the back for that. As far as the type of books that I'm reading, I feel like I've really fallen back in love with historical romances. I've read so many 5-star historicals this year, and that just makes me so happy. And of course, I am back on my bullshit of novellas and poly romances and reverse harems. Like, those are also my favorite because they're so much fun. All right, so the first question is best book you've read so far in 2022. That is so freaking hard because I've actually had so many 5-star reads. I had to narrow it down. I definitely have to give it to Marina Vivancos. Marina Vivancos! I have been singing her praises on my channel recently. It's a lot of queer romances on KU. Some of them are novellas, some of them are longer, and I love her so much. I discovered her novellas last year, and then this year I've been slowly making my way through her backlist and reading all of her books. At this point, I have read every single thing she's ever written, and I've given every single book 5 stars. So I'm gonna pick 2. It's a duology. It's her shifter romance duology, but you can technically read it out of order. The first one is In This Iron Ground. This is, again, the first book in her Natural Magic series. This follows Damien, who at a very young age, his parents pass away, and bouncing between different orphanages and foster homes. He gets stuck at this foster house that is awful, so make sure to read the trigger warnings for this romance or for this entire series. Marina Vivancos writes very emotional books in general. He leaves the house and escapes to the woods to like find some solace, and he ends up discovering a pack of werewolves, and his entire life changes very drastically from there. He realizes that magic exists in this world in a very unique way. There's shifters, there's witches, there's healers, there's all different types of ways that magic can manifest in a person, but he gets really connected to this one werewolf pack. He gets drawn to the eldest son of the pack. His name is Hakan, and they become absolute best friends, which turns into a friend sliver's romance. I'll say this is a different type of romance. It's very slow burn and more so focuses on Damien's personal journey. You see him grow, you get to see him fall in love and out of love. It's sweepingly romantic, so emotional. The plot is so unique. The magic is so unique. I just love this book. Then All That Has Flown Beyond takes place in that same magic universe but follows a completely different set of characters. 2 heroes, their parents also die at a very young age. Their pack gets attacked and so many people from their pack die. Just them and their best friend, so 3 of them that end up surviving the attack. Our hero in this book is called a shaman, do magic and healing, and he really takes it upon himself to protect the pack. He continues to push himself and exert himself in a way that is almost damaging to his physical health and his mental health, and because of that he ends up getting kicked out of the pack by his boyfriend, our other hero, and he is absolutely devastated, goes through a series of depression. And again, this is a slow burn romance. It really does follow our character's emotional journey, him discovering himself, becoming more confident in himself, living with depression and intrusive thoughts. I read something so achingly beautiful that could break my heart and make me cry, and the next chapter make me swoon because of how romantic the romance is. Next up is best sequel you've read so far in 2022, and this year I started reading Shanna Galen, a historical romance author that I have just been absolutely loving recently. I have a whole reading vlog where I read a bunch of her books in her Survivor series, and what that series is, takes place during the War of Napoleon. All these heroes are war veterans, but now they are going back to London and have to reacclimate into society. They have this really dangerous mission that so many men died, and they call themselves the survivors, and in that they create this really strong brotherhood, and it follows all of their romances. And the bromance in this series is my favorite thing ever. I just love the way like the men support each other, and like you get to see all the side characters. I really love that series, honestly. So I'll leave that reading vlog down below. But the second book is such a good sequel. It's called No Earls Allowed. It was Lady Juliana. Her sister has passed away and she's really struggling to find herself, and she doesn't feel seen in society with nobility. Her sister was big on charity work, so she wants to continue her sister's legacy of becoming the owner of an orphanage and taking in a lot of boys who are in really bad circumstances, and that is where our hero comes in. Our hero is sent by her father to come collect her. Her father does not want her to be in this side of town, does not want her to continue her endeavors, and wants her to marry into nobility and all that fancy schmancy stuff. It was her childhood friend. Their families kind of grew up together, so he comes to like retrieve her, but really he gets sucked into the madness of the orphanage. He comes to like retrieve her, but he falls in love with her, falls in love with the kids. It's just so freaking sweet. I loved this one. Next is a new release you haven't read but want to, and that is Keep Her Safe by QB Tyler. Could you guys believe I've never read a QB Tyler? I know. That's like criminal. I need to read her entire backlist, but the one that is like speaking to me is Keep Her Safe. This is a bodyguard romance. All I need to know, it sounds amazing. I know so many of my friends love her books, and yeah, I definitely need to read this one. I also need to read Good as Gold by Serena Bowen. This is a small town friends to lovers romance. I'm a big fan of Serena Bowen. I literally love all her books, and I got to see her at Book Bonanza, and she signed some of my favorite books. What a dream. That was wonderful. She's wonderful. I just love all her books. I want to read everything she's ever written, and this is one of her newer releases I have not read yet. So next up is most anticipated release for the second half of 2022. Oh my god, I could literally do a whole video on this. I just realized I said 2022. What? Did I say 2022 this whole video? I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. 2023. Most anticipated release for the second half of 2023. Anyways, I'm so excited. There's so many things being released, and I have a lot on my list. I probably could do a whole video. First up, of course, is going to be Pucking Wild. Be Still My Beating Heart. Her hockey romance series, it follows a set of side characters. It's an age gap romance with a older heroine, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this is even a dominant heroine, submissive man situation. I really hope so, because that's my favorite trope. First 3 books in the series follows a poly hockey romance between 2 hockey players, the sports equipment manager, and the physical therapist doctor. So 1 girl, 3 guys, and I love it. There is a prequel, there is the full book, and then there's like a bind up of short novellas following them. I'm invested in this whole universe. Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I'm sure that's a lot of people's answer. I'm still not over Fourth Wing, okay? I'm still not over it. Oh my god, I have a reading vlog of so many of these books because they were my favorites of the year. But yeah, I was obsessed with Fourth Wing. Me and my dad read it together and we were both equally obsessed, and I cannot wait for the second book, and you will not catch me slipping. I've already pre-ordered all the special editions, so I have them in my possession, okay? You will not catch me slipping this time. I'm also excited for putting out for Hero by C. Rochelle. This is her 3rd book in like her superhero story. It follows a family of supervillains and a bunch of their romances. Does that not sound amazing? It sounds amazing. Okay, the next one is not a fun question, and that is biggest disappointments. Now, I will say, I think this is the year that I've had the most 5 stars. I have been loving the majority of what I'm reading, and it's made me really excited to create content and to read. And I think it's because I really know what tropes I like. I really have a set of core authors that I love, and I'm working my way through their backlist. So I've just had a really good reading year. But I did have a few disappointments, and just one. Keep in mind that I don't like talking about books I don't like, because all I want to do is gush about books and recommend books, and books are subjective. So if I'm talking about your favorite book, I'm sorry. I love that you loved it. It just didn't work out for me. And the main disappointment for me this year was Timeborn by Sarah Samuels. This is a time travel romance set during like the Roman Empire, which is such a cool setting. And I really need to read more time travel romances, but I think this one just felt a little short. It's a long book, okay? It's long. There's nothing inherently bad or offensive about this book. I just felt like it wasn't fully fleshed out. The time travel aspect wasn't really well explained. The romance was very insta-lovey, but there was nothing really connecting the characters. There were a lot of plot holes. Yeah, I just wanted more. I wanted more time travel. I wanted more romance. A really long book, but the middle portion of it, not a lot is happening. Everything's kind of like jammed towards the end, and then there's a massive cliffhanger. It was kind of unsettling for it not to resolve even though it was a series, I wanted some resolution, some explanation for it being so long. So yeah, it wasn't like awful, but it was disappointing. I'm so sorry. So, okay, let's talk about good books. Is Biggest Surprise, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Now, I'm sure that's not a surprise to you guys because everyone was talking about this book. It's a fantasy romance with dragons. Like, what is there not to love? I'm just not a fantasy girly. I'm not, okay, I wasn't, but I really think I'm in my fantasy era right now because I've been reading a lot of amazing fantasy romances, I will tell you what. But anyways, I just really love this book. I've never loved a fantasy romance as much as I loved this one. 5-star read. It's so good. It's so intricate. The romance is amazing. The side characters are amazing. I'm not over it, okay? I'm not over it. There was something that happened at the end that I'm still not over, and I'm like, I don't want to do any spoilers, but I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Only in like my top reads of the year. Next up is a new favorite author, and again, I've had a really great reading year. So one of them is Miss Emily Wraith. Oh my god, Emily Rath. Emily Rath. I hate that I do that. I'm so sorry. I hate that I mispronounce her name. Emily Rath. Very energetic in this video and I don't know why. Anyways, Emily Rath writes a lot of poly romances, which you guys know is my favorite thing in the world. She has a historical romance that's reverse harem. That one is fabulous. She has a hockey romance that's poly, and it's fabulous. I already talked about Pucking Around. That one is so good. I also really love her Omegaverse, Whiskey and Sin. Over that one, since I already talked about the hockey one, I do have a reading vlog where I binged pretty much her entire backlist, so I'll leave that down below. Whiskey and Sin is her male-male Omegaverse. Our Omega hero, he is being human trafficked. He ends up escaping, but he is really badly injured, and our hero Bear, who is an alpha, finds him on the side of the road and ends up taking him back to his cabin to heal, kind of nurses him back to health, but also helps him escape this underground trafficking ring. Really sweet. Our hero is like a cinnamon roll hero, and I just love it. And again, I'm obsessed with her poly hockey romance series. Also really love Tessa Hale. Guys, I see, maybe I am in my fantasy era. Tessa Hale writes paranormal romances, fantasy romances that are, you guessed it, reverse harem. I just love it. I like what I like. I started reading Tessa Hale because of my girl Jessica from Peace Love Books. She recommended her to me. Thank you, Jessica. One of my favorite authors. And I think I binged like her entire backlist in like a week. I'm not joking. I literally love her books so much. I just eat them up. Really love her Royals of Kingwood Academy series. The first one is The Lost Elemental. This takes place in a world where magic exists, but it's elemental magic like fire, wind, water. Kind of like Avatar a little bit. Anyways, so everyone is tested when they reach a certain age to see if they have any hint of magic. Bloodline of magic is like slowly dying out, and usually people do not have the magic unless their parent has one. So our heroine does not expect to spark any magic and really plans to just, you know, live a regular life. Goes, and lo and behold, the girl has some magic. Yes, she does. Having a connection with the princes of each kingdom. Air, the prince of water, the prince of earth, the prince of fire, and it's a poly romance. It's great. I will say, Tessa Hale, Miss Ma'am, you give us a cliffhanger on every book. Every book is a cliffhanger, but I'm addicted. You know what you're doing. You're keeping me invested. If you're starting one of her series, you need to be invested, okay? Okay? Because it's gonna end up on a cliffhanger. Eventually, you do get your happily ever after. Everything resolves in the end, but she puts you through your paces, if that makes sense. Next up is newest fictional crush. I'm gonna have to go with a new one that I just read, and that is Swallow Your Pride by Sarah Blue. I absolutely love Sarah Blue. She also does write a lot of poly romances. She has a hockey poly romance. That one's really good. This one is just two people, and I loved it. Okay, I did. See, sometimes I read romances with two people. Our heroine is a child of an affair. Her father was married to someone else, and then he had a one-night stand with her mom, and they had her. Her has never really claimed her. She doesn't even know her siblings. Except that her biological father has passed away. And when she goes to the funeral, she finds out that he has left her a lot. He's left her a beach house. He has left her shares in the company. And it really comes at a time where she needs it. She needs the money. She's at a time where she's trying to discover herself. Brother has some shares in their company, and he's real mad about it. The other person who has shares in the company is her dad's ex-business partner, who she has a romance with. It's an age gap romance with a zaddy kink, and it's sexy as all hell. Okay, Aiden, the way he takes care of her, the way he cherishes her, like this, he is an ex-baseball player with lots of shmoney, big dick energy. Like, I need that in my life. Please, sign me up. yeah, he's definitely my new fictional crush. Although I did finish Minx by Sophie Lark. This kink, this book is so, I can't even like describe this book. It's so kinky and sexy. I love this hero too. Next question is my new favorite fictional character, and that has to be Violet from Fourth Wing. One of my favorite heroines. Her strength is amazing. Rebecca Yarros did such a good job at her chronic illness rep in that book, and her heroine is so incredibly strong and kind and smart, and she's going through so much in this book, but she never lets people change like who she is, like in her core, who she is as a person. She's just a good ass person. This is books that made you cry. Oh my gosh. Here's the thing. I am a cry baby. I am a Cancer. Okay, yes I am. I cry for literally everything. I do. And a lot of books make me cry. But the one that really got to me was All That Has Flown Beyond by Marina Vivancos. I mentioned this one in the beginning of the video. Our hero in this book, his mental health journey, the way it is represented, I've never read a book like it. Our hero goes through deep depression and a lot of intrusive thoughts, and as someone who has also gone through that, see, I could cry about it I could cry just talking about it. It explained exactly how I was feeling, or I have felt in the past, and even though like our circumstances were different, and obviously this takes place in a paranormal universe, it just felt so real, but not in a triggering way. So I believe Marina Vivancos is either a current therapist or was a therapist, and I feel like that really translates into her book. It deals with emotions and mental health in such a raw, real way, but almost in a cathartic way, and it just felt so incredibly healing to not feel alone. And then I swear to God, like some of the coping mechanisms that his therapist gave him in the book, I literally use in my daily life. So even thinking about this book makes me want to bawl like a baby. I just love it. Valentine has one that just made me sob, literally made me sob. This one is a male-male romance. Our hero's brother dies of leukemia, and he ends up having a relationship with his brother's ex-boyfriend. Taboo, his family does not agree with it. He's grieving his brother. He's also working through how he identifies and his sexuality. It's, again, so romantic, but so emotional. A book that makes me happy. A book that makes me happy after I was just crying. I think it's gonna be Not All Himbos Wear Capes by C. Rochelle. I talked about the sequel that's coming up for this book. This is a literal romance between a supervillain and a superhero. It's so fucking funny. This book is hilarious. Next question is my favorite like book to movie adaptation. I don't really watch TV or watch that many movies, so I don't have one. I'm sorry. I mean, I love like Bridgerton, but yeah, I don't really watch adaptations that often. The next one is Most Beautiful Books I've Purchased. Let me show you. Absolutely the most stunning books I've purchased. I recently went to Book Bonanza. Ruby Dixon was there, and it was glorious, and she had these special edition copies of her 2 books, and I'm obsessed. So this one is The King's Spinster Bride. This one's my favorite. This is my favorite Ruby Dixon book, by the way, and it's so pretty. And I think even, and then you like have the art inside as well. If you take the dust jacket off, it's also on like the actual hardcover. Just immaculate, immaculate. And then this one is the Half Orcs Maiden Bride. So stinking pretty. Next question is like my favorite post or video that I've done. I did a video where I talked about Marina Vivancos, my favorite author ever, and I talked about every book that she's written. I read her whole backlist. I organized them by tropes and series, talked about my favorites. It's a lengthy video. She has tons of books. It's shifter romances, she has novellas, she has hockey romances, she has Omegaverse books, and I went deep dive into all of them. So I'm really proud of that video, and I just want more people to read her books. So the last question is books you need to read by the end of the year. The first one is Up in Flames by Eden Finley and Saxon James. Love Eden Finley and Saxon James. This is I've read almost their entire backlist. This one is a firefighter romance. It features some side characters that we got to meet in other books, so that's exciting. I'm also really excited to read Overtime by Marina Vivancos. That one is the 3rd book in her Hockey Omegaverse series. So excited. And of course, I do have some book clubs. I have 2 book clubs. I have a cozy mystery book club called Teacups and Murder that I host with Spencer from Intentionally Bookish. It is a seasonal book club where we pick a book for each season: summer, winter, fall, spring. Finished our summer pick, so we have our fall and our winter pick coming up. Obviously I need to read those. And then my Historical Hellions book club with Jessica, where we read historical romances published before the year 2000. We love reading classic historicals, and we pretty much have like our entire year planned of what books we're gonna read. So make sure to check out those 2 Instagram pages. I have Instagram pages for each book club. So I don't tend to set very heavy TBRs because I'm a mood reader, but those are books I have to read. Guys, I think I answered all the questions. I'm running out of breath. I can't even talk. I feel like I've been talking a mile a minute. I love you guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!